Looks like Arsenal may have finally gotten their striker, with reports indicating that they are close to a deal with Sporting CP striker Viktor Gyökeres, and it's a big deal worth possibly up to £70 million. So of course the expectations are going to be through the roof. So we need to talk about what Arsenal actually needs from Gyökeres to make this successful, and to put it shortly, he just has to be better than Kai Havertz. Can he do it? That remains to be seen. We're going to talk about that next here on Pints and Punditry at the Pitchside Pub. So this isn't just a big signing, it's a bet. It's a bet that Viktor Gyökeres can be better than Kai Havertz, and it looks like it's a pretty expensive bet. But he's walking into a system that hasn't always been kind to pure forwards, and he's replacing a player who seems to have finally found his footing. So what does Gyökeres need to do for Arsenal to live up to this new deal, and can he do it? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today, but before we do, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me down below so you can follow the channel. Get down in the comment section, let me know your thoughts on this deal. Gyökeres, should Arsenal have gone after somebody else? The price, get in the comments, let me know what you think. You can also leave some comments on Twitter and Blue Sky at Pitchside Pub, and check out the website pitchsidepub.com. So £70 million is serious money, and with that comes expectations. Expectations to not only be good, but to be good right away and make an immediate impact. And unfortunately, that's not always fair. So the question is, what does Gyökeres really have to do to justify this transfer expense and justify this move, and can he do it? This move isn't happening in a vacuum. He's effectively replacing Kai Havertz, who may play some alongside of Gyökeres, but really that's where they felt like they needed to upgrade, was at that striker position, which has predominantly been manned by Kai Havertz when healthy. And while Havertz had his critics, he did appear to finally be gaining some traction in that number 9 role before injuries killed the second half of his season last year. So it's not really about Gyökeres and his upside, it's really about replacing what they had, and is that the missing link for Arsenal that has kept them as the second place team for all these years? And Gyökeres brings a lot of things that Havertz does not. He's a more direct goal threat, has more physicality, more presence. But of course the Premier League is different than playing in Portugal. There's more physicality, more pace, the weekly grind in and out of playing against the top level of competition. Gyökeres would hardly be the first player to take some time to make that transition, and in theory that should be fine, but with that price tag comes the expectations for immediate results, and fair or not, that's what Gyökeres is going to have to deal with. So what do the numbers say? They can tell part of the story, but we have to take them with a grain of salt. Gyökeres put up massive goal numbers in Portugal, but that's obviously not the level of competition he's going to face in the Premier League. So we need to try and normalize that level of competition a little bit. Spencer Mossman, who has a great Twitter account that you should definitely follow, broke down the level of competition data from Opta Sports, and it really gave us a nice data sampling size to use. Over the past 2 seasons, Gyökeres had around 1,790 minutes against Premier League level competition. That's using the relegation level of Premier League clubs, or better, using Opta's strength model. So that would include Benfica, Porto, and Braga in the league, Atalanta in the Europa League, and all of Sporting's Champions League opponents other than Sturm Graz. During those 1,790 minutes, he produced non-9 penalty goals and 5 assists. That's a 6.13 non-penalty XG and 3.16 expected assists. That works out to 0.7 non-penalty goals plus assists per 90 minutes. To put that in Premier League context, that would have ranked 10th in the league, ahead of players like Ollie Watkins and Matthias Cunha, right in the mix with Luis Diaz and Diego Jota, RIP. But the real benchmark we're trying to clear is Kai Havertz, and Kai Havertz last year in the Premier League was at 0.58 non-penalty goals and assists per 90. So by this definition, he would clear that by a fair margin. Now, none of this guarantees he's going to be able to replicate his success from Portugal into England. Arsenal plays a whole different style, the level of competition is obviously better, and his numbers in Portugal were wildly inflated. But it does give us some indication that yes, he has faced good competition, and even while facing them, he has been a reliable goal scorer and contributor. But it does give us some context of what we can expect from him, not these wild numbers from Portugal. Now, the tactical and stylistic changes are going to be a factor here. Arsenal plays a much different style than what he featured in at Sporting, particularly when Ruben Amorim was there. Gyökeres thrives in open field chaos, fast transitions, one-on-ones, surging into space behind defenses. He's lethal when the game breaks open. At Sporting, he saw plenty of that, particularly under Amorim, who likes a very direct style and got Gyökeres out running in attack in open spaces. Arsenal are different. They had a lot of possession, 56.9% last season, which was 4th in the Premier League, and they're typically facing a lot of low blocks, not fast-cutting transitions. At Sporting, he saw a lot of space. Even when they were dominating the ball, Ruben Amorim's system, when he was there, liked to get out direct and get Gyökeres in space. Arsenal, on the other hand, are more ball-dominant and face a lot of low blocks. They're not a team that thrives on transitional chaos. They're built on control, which presents a dilemma for Gyökeres. At Arsenal, he's going to need to blend in the possession game, time those off-the-ball runs perfectly, hold up play in open channels, and make smart combinations in tight spaces. It's not that he can't do it, but it's not something he was asked to do nearly as often at Sporting as he will have to do with Arsenal, and of course against much better defenses. Now, he will have the likes of Bukayo Saka and Martin Odegaard feeding him passes, so he will have a lot more help creating those opportunities through his team and not having to do as much himself. And of course, the real barometer here is, can he be more of a goal creator, goal contributor than Kai Havertz was? I don't think it's realistic to expect him to come in and score 30, 35 goals a season. That's not who he's going to be against better competition, and frankly, it's not the style that Arsenal wants to play. But this signing doesn't happen unless Arsenal think Gyökeres can give them more than Kai Havertz. That could mean more goals, it could mean better link-up play with Saka and Odegaard, it could mean a more traditional striker profile that changes how teams defend Arsenal. Havertz was beginning to develop some success in that role, and he's obviously still going to be a part of what Arsenal do. But fair or not, is Gyökeres better than Havertz is going to be the barometer by which we judge this transfer, and given the price, he's going to have to clear that bar by some amount to make it worthwhile. Gyökeres is good. He is a good addition, and a true bona fide striker who can put the ball in the net is what Arsenal has been missing. They have been a good, borderline great club for a few years now, but can't get over that second place hurdle simply because when push comes to shove in a tight game, they haven't been able to get the goal they needed unless it came from a set piece. Ideally, Gyökeres changes that. They had to make this move for somebody, and they were linked with a lot of strikers out there. Gyökeres is the guy they went with. It's a big price tag, and with that is going to come probably unfair expectations. In reality, he just needs to be a moderate step up from Kai Havertz. Arsenal is there, they have been good, they don't need a massive improvement. They need incremental steps forward in the goal scoring department to get from second place into trophy hunting. Can Gyökeres do that? Probably. Is that going to live up to the money they spent? That remains to be seen. But if it leads to a trophy, nobody's going to care. Do you care? I'd love to get your thoughts. Get down in the comments section. Let me know what you think. You can also leave comments on Twitter and Blue Sky at Pitchside Pub. While you're at it, hit the subscribe button for me down below so you can follow the channel, and check out the website pitchsidepub.com. Thanks as always for joining us here on Pints and Punditry at the Pitchside Pub.